happy to do that. I can do another reading after. But I just want to sort of see it, test this theory and see if there's anything that maybe might come up that will be applicable for you, for all the different issues that you're thinking about. Okay, so I'm going to, actually, you know what, I'm gonna, hang on. I'm just gonna take my scarf and put it on my lap. Here, so I've got a bit of a surface. Oops, there goes the book. Okay, there we go. I got a bit of a what am I trying to say? I don't know. Okay. So, let's see if I can do this with one hand. Come on. There we go. Alright, so I need to use my other hand. So. Alright. Okay. Sorry, I'm just contemplating the issues that you mentioned, just to kind of focus a little bit. Okay. So the first round is going to be the overview of the situation. Next one is the challenge that you face. And the last one is your action called for. This one. Okay. Alright. So. Alrighty, so there's your reading. These two are reversed, they're upside down, so I'm going to read the, which I should have done in Skogan Whispers reading as well, but I didn't have time. I'm going to read the upright interpretation and the reversed interpretation, because, as I explained in my intro video, at least going by the way that this dude that wrote the book that I use interprets it, a reversed rune is generally points to something that's kind of in the way of you experiencing the effects of the rune. So, anyways, yeah. Let's see here. Alright, so the first one is self. Manas, page 93. Okay. That's this guy right here. So this is the overview of your situation, and again, self. The starting point is the self. Its essence is water. Only clarity, willingness to change is effective now. A correct relationship to yourself is primary, for from it flow all possible right relationships with others and with the divine. Remain modest, that is the oracle's counsel. Regardless of how great may be your merit, be yielding, devoted, and moderate, for then you have a true direction for your life. Be in the world, but not of it, and yet do not be closed, narrow, or judging. Rather, remain receptive to impulses flowing from the divine within and without. Strive to live the ordinary life in a non-ordinary way. Remember at all times what is coming to be and passing away, and focus on that which abides. Nothing less is called for you. Nothing less is called for from you now. I always screw up on that sentence. Okay, this is a time of major growth and rectification, and as a rule, rectification must come before progress. The field is tilled before the seed is planted. The garden is weeded before the flower blooms, and the self must know stillness before it can discover its true song. Now is not a time to seek credit for accomplishments or to focus on results. Instead, be content to do your task for the task's sake. Herein lies the secret of experiencing a true present. If you take the rune of the self and cut it down the middle, you will see the rune for joy with its mirror image. There is here a subtle caution against carelessness. The self is required to balance the self. Again, that's big self, little self. Where are we? Self. Meaning, as I take it, that, well, just to sort of stick to the principles that you know, work on a deeper level, even though, you know, what you want may be a little bit different in the moment. Anyway, nothing in excess was the second phrase written over the gateway to the temple at Delphi. The first counsel was, know thyself. Okay, so I'll leave that for now. The second one here is a reversed rune. That is the rune for protection, reversed. So this is your challenge. It's called Algaes. Reversed. Okay, so again, I'm going to read first the upright reading. So had you gotten this rune upright, this is what it would say. Control of the emotion. So this is kind of like what you want to aim for, I think. Sort of. Like this is where the reverse reading will show you what may be standing in your way of experiencing this. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Alright, so control of the emotions is at issue here. During times of transition, shifts in life course, and accelerated self-change, it is important not to collapse yourself into your emotions, the highs as well as the lows. New opportunities and challenges are typical of this rune, and with them may come trespasses and unwanted influences. Algaes serves as a mirror for the spiritual warrior, the one whose battle is always with the self. The warrior's protection is like the curved horns of the elk, or the warning rustle of the sedge grass, for both serve to keep open space around you. Remain mindful that timely right action and correct conduct are your only true protection. If you find yourself feeling pain, observe the pain, stay with it. Do not try to pull down the veil and escape from life by denying what is happening. You will progress, knowing that is your protection. Okay, so that's kind of the situation, potential, I guess. And this is the reverse reading. I think this was also in Spoken Whispers reading. That's so cool. Okay, so this is your challenge. Be thoughtful about your health and do not add to the burdens others are carrying. regardless of whether your enterprise prospers or suffers. Do not be overly concerned. You may not win, but you will never lose, for you can always learn from what is taking place. Temperance and courtesy are the sinews of this rune's protective powers. Okay. Alright, I'm not going to say anything yet. I'm going to just read the last one, but that sparked a couple of thoughts in my head. Alrighty, and the last one is your action called for, and it is Othela reversed, and that's separation. 98. So again, I'm going to read the upright reading first. This is a time of separating paths. Old skins must be shed, outmoded relationships discarded. When you receive this rune, a peeling away is called for. Part of the cycle of initiation, Othela is a rune of radical severance. The appropriate action here is submission and quite possibly retreat. Knowing how and when to retreat and possessing the firmness of will to carry it out. Real properties associated with Othela, for it is the rune of acquisition and benefits. However, the benefits you receive, the inheritance, may be derived from something you must give up. This can be particularly demanding when what you are called upon to abandon is some aspect of your behavior, a part of your cultural inheritance. For then you must look closely at what until now you have proudly claimed as your birthright. Whether it is your attachment to your position in society, the work you do, or even to your beliefs about your own nature, the separation called for will free you to become more truly who you are. Okay, and now this is the reversed reading, and so this is your action called for. This is not a time to be bound by old conditioning and old authority. Consider not only what will benefit you, but what will benefit others, and act according to the light you possess now in your life. Because you may be called upon to undertake a radical departure from old ways, total honesty is required. Otherwise, through negligence or refusal to see clearly, you may cause pain to others and damage to yourself. Adaptability and skillful means are the methods to cultivate at this time, and still you must wait for the universe to act. Receiving this rune, remember, we do without doing, and everything gets done. Okay, so that is your reading. Now, if you want to kind of ponder that without my interpretation, then stop this video now, because I'm about to just say a couple thoughts that come to mind, and you can take them or leave them. But, sorry, my throat's all... Okay, so, the sense that I get, personally, and again, take this with a grain of salt because I don't really know the particulars, but I can definitely identify with times in my life where I've been undergoing big changes. You talk about moving and, making a lot of decisions and seeming commitments in your, with your business and in your career. And that can be a scary thing because every decision that you make, always has the potential to not turn out the way you want. And from your message, one of the things that stood out is that seems to be a common thread, is that you're sort of putting plans into action, making things happen for yourself, but you may be doubting yourself a little bit, or just doubting, not being sure, not having that guarantee that things are going to work out smoothly. That's kind of what I heard from your message, and I think that, well, on the one hand, you never really have that guarantee, but on the other hand, you do have the guarantee that as long as you like, clear on what it is that you really are after, and as long as you're honest with yourself and follow your intuition, basically, and your, like, just your knowledge of what's right for you, as long as you can stay in touch with that, then you'll be able to adapt and change course and, you know, adjust yourself as needed if things don't go the way you're planning. So either way, you'll be fine. And I think that, like, this is something that I'm also, and this might be where this is coming from, so like I said, just, you know, take this for what it's worth or whatever, but it's hard sometimes to make choices based on just, you know, that feeling of what you want and what's right for you without doubting yourself, and especially if you're not in the habit of it. You know, if you haven't put a lot of trust in your own ability to kind of know what you want and what's important to you, then it can be really hard to trust that. And I think that, from the sounds of it anyway, you have a few things in the works that are causing you to really trust your own judgment and your own intuition, and I think that, I mean, I guess I would say, hopefully, that works out well for you, because I think that that's the right thing to do, personally, and it sounds to me like you are, I mean, you seem to me to be somebody who would kind of consider these decisions carefully. You know, you've got a good head on your shoulders, and you're able to understand things quite deeply, so I'm sure that you've given everything, you know, proper consideration. So, I mean, to me this seems like the message overall is that things will work out smoothly, or at least for your overall benefit and your overall good, even if that's not, you know, that doesn't always turn out the way we plan, but a lot of the times, when things don't go the way we plan, they actually go a lot better. So the sense that I get is that things will, you know, work out well for you, as long as you can stay honest with yourself and true to yourself, and stay, again, in the present. I think this is such a huge part of the process, you know. Like it said in the book, the present is really the only place, the only time where we have any control, or any, not even control, but just influence. It's the only thing we can even have any effect on. So, you know, if you allow yourself to kind of worry about the future and the outcome of these decisions, then you take yourself out of that place of power and put yourself in the place where, you know, it is an unknown and it is uncertain, because we don't know what the outcome is going to be of the choices that we make. All we know is the choice and what feels right, and I think as long as you just continue to do what feels right, then that's all you can do, you know, then you're good to go. And as far as your business partner, something in here stood out to me. Something about if you, which was it? If you see fit to get involved with people who are using you, something about that. Not to say that she is, I think it was a she, but, you know, you were wondering whether or not to get involved with her again. And I think the way that I would interpret that anyway is that as long as you're aware of the reality of who she is and how she is, and you're prepared and, you know, to deal with that, and you want to work with her under those circumstances, then I think you'd be fine. You know, it said something, yeah, let me just conscious of that fact, and take responsibility for your own position, then you can only benefit. So, yeah, just be aware of what you're getting yourself into, and as long as you're aware of the reality and you're not expecting her to, behave in a way that's not reasonable, given what she's shown you of how she is, then, go into it with your eyes open, and you'll know what to expect. But, if, it seems to me that if you're, hoping that she's gonna act differently than she did in the past, you may be setting yourself up to repeat the same lessons. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't mean to, try and offer advice on something that I don't know anything about, but that's just what's, sort of popping into my mind, so I figured I would offer it to you. Take it for what it's worth to you. So, yeah, I think that the message overall is a positive one, but it's just kind of offering a bit of caution to just strengthen your faith in yourself, and in the process, and yeah, just pay attention to your gut, really. You'll know if something's right, or if you have a sense of, trepidation or foreboding. Like, look at that, take a look at that. Try and learn to discern between, a real sense of something not quite being right, and just an overall tendency to doubt yourself and worry a little bit, which is totally natural, especially when you're making, major life-changing decisions. It's absolutely natural to question whether you're making the right choices. And just realize, too, that, I'm sure you do realize this, but, just remind yourself that no matter what choice you make, there's always going to be good things about it and complications, So, that's a given. That doesn't mean you made a mistake necessarily. That's to be expected. And I think as long as you're prepared for that, then you'll be, more than able to make the most of whatever choices you make. So, that is my take on this. I would be glad to know if any of this was useful. Again, it's kind of establishing